Well, well, well. What do we
Look,
have here?
look who it is.
You.
It's a me,
How about that?
Mario.
You're,
All
you,
right.
you
So what's the
can't
first
just say
episode today?
you can't just say your name's Mario because you claim Italian heritage. You can't do that. My
Well,
goodness.
I
But the
can and I
episodes,
do.
yeah, we're starting off with Berman Fever, season 3, episode 16. And
Berman
then there's
fever.
yeah. Then
Yeah,
there's some
yeah.
fake Borg, and then there's Evil Doctor, and it's pretty good. It's
Fake Borg.
Blood Fever is weird, but I mean, any. I don't know why we have episodes at all that deal with Vulcan mating cycles, but they're always weird.
Hmm. Um, I think the writers just get bored and they just dig up stuff from like original series. And they're like, oh yeah, thing with Spock when he went into Pon farr and
Oh
fought
yeah, and he
Kirk.
had to
Let's do that.
duel Kirk with the Ambujitsu staff with a spike on the end,
Can,
or a blade on the end.
can we? Yes. Can we get the fight scene from this episode with the
Amok
original
time
fight
music?
music? Yeah.
I
Bum
mean, we
bum 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 bum
could.
bum 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 bum.
Weird show. But yeah, there's. This is Vorik's second episode, and he's gonna go all creepy and try to assault people, and then everyone's just gonna move on because that's just what Vulcans do every 7 years.
Yeah. So, okay. In Unity, there is a scene, and we'll have to look at it like in slow motion after the episode. There is a scene that I caught where they have a mistake, a dire mistake, and it must be addressed.
Did
It,
you go and watch the episode prior to stream?
um, I've been watching Voyager because I've not been in a good mood lately, and I just needed something to fill
And
space, and
Neelix
that
is
was
improving your mood, the morale officer.
the morale officer. Yes. Actually, it's funny you mentioned that because I got to the episode where he tells B'Elanna that she can come abuse him as a pressure valve, and I was thinking, she's like, I
That's
couldn't
what
do
we
that,
do
Neelix.
every week.
You're too you're too sweet. I'm thinking, how about all the psychological abuse towards Cass and all the creepy stuff he's done? Like, think about that. If you
She's
need a
just
reason
his
to
pressure
abuse him.
valve. What's the problem? If he
um,
needs to blow off steam, he goes and abuses Kess.
yeah, that's
God,
right.
Neelix is
Well,
the
not
worst.
anymore. Well, at
For the
least
first 3 seasons,
not for
he's the
long.
worst.
I don't know. He's kind of weird with Naomi.
He's weird, but he's not abusing her.
No, I guess not.
He's just trying to be the cool uncle.
The cool furry uncle. He's a Sith Lord, okay? And no one can change my
Yeah,
mind.
the eyes. We know this.
Yeah.
A Sith Lord?
I got groceries for the first time in like, I don't know, since February. What's that? 6 months.
You should probably get groceries more often. That seems important. I would highly recommend everyone gets groceries. In fact, I was going to get groceries today. That's a good point. Why are you having a shower right now?
Who?
You.
Why am I having a shower?
Yeah, there was water running.
Oh, I was washing my hands. Oh, NVIDIA Broadcast took a dump. Sorry, I'll fix it. I installed new graphics drivers, and that always does it.
Just uncheck the bit where it installs audio drivers. You don't need those.
NVIDIA Broadcast runs through the RTX cores. So when you install new drivers, it like resets all the NVIDIA Broadcast settings.
Not experienced that, but okay.
Well,
If you say so.
do you use NVIDIA
What I do
Broadcast?
say is you should press play in 4, 3, 2, 1, Play. Yes, I do use NVIDIA Broadcast. Which kind of makes me talk over people because it delays my voice by like a second. So if I start talking and then someone starts talking half a second later, it sounds like I'm just interrupting them.
Delays.
What do you care, Chakotay? Just take it. The strongest ship in the quadrant.
Well, for now. So far. Actually, haven't they met more powerful people already?
Are the Vidians more powerful, or are there just a lot of them?
I think the Vidians are probably a peer adversary to Voyager. At least a peer adversary.
How many minutes until Vorik gets creepy?
Like 30 seconds.
Yeah, I guess the end of the cold open, he's gonna like stare creepily at B'Elanna as she walks away.
No, 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 no. The whole thing happens right now.
Okay. What? Vorik? What? Vulcans are just weird, man. Does this work? Can you just walk up to a girl and just propose? Does that work? I haven't tried it.
You can
Or
try
does it
it,
only
but
work with
equal
coworkers?
chances equal chances if they accept they might be insane, so you know.
Yeah, sure you are, B'Elanna. Not getting any younger, B'Elanna. Berman, is this you? Is he? Okay, who's HR on the ship? I don't think I've ever seen an HR department in Starfleet. We have the counselor.
That'd be Chakotay.
We
That
have
would
the
be
JAG
Chakotay.
office.
Chakotay, the first officer is in charge of personnel, so that would be the first officer would be HR.
Well, she should probably go talk to Chakotay then, because jeez,
And she's
it's
like in with Chakotay, so you know.
yeah. She had a. They're not just friends. She had a crush on him in the first few episodes.
Does
They dropped
she?
that plot line pretty quick. Yeah, she had a dream fantasizing about him, and it was something.
Well,
They gave up on that.
Voyager. Voyager, the ship of dreams.
It's the shipping ship. Everybody gets shipped on Voyager.
The shipping ship.
They're gonna ship it down to the
Well, I
ship and
mean,
ship it out of here.
75 years. They gotta reproduce. Otherwise, who's gonna get them across the finish line?
I'm remembering the Enterprise episode where they did that. Enterprise turned into a generational ship, and poor Malcolm Reed, nobody loved him. He died alone.
Yeah, Malcolm Reed, The Bachelor forever. I prefer to say, my bloodline ends with me.
Because nobody wants him?
I don't want kids. Ever.
Okay.
So that was one of the big reasons why I split up with my ex. She wanted to start having kids right away. And then I started dating this lady. We were dating for like 2 or 3 weeks, and she wanted to get married and have kids immediately. And I'm like, I've known
Was she
you
a
for
Vulcan?
like 2.5 weeks. No.
Bloody Vulcans, they're everywhere. Now, that's just irresponsible. There should 100% be detailed information in the medical database about this. They need to know.
Uh,
Don't they have an
this
app
the
that can
pun
track their
fun.
pawn far?
They have an app to track menstrual cycles, so I
Yes,
assume.
that's what I was referring to. Thank you. But people on menstrual cycles don't generally have to murder someone. It doesn't really come up. Like salmon.
Yeah. But salmon die after they breed, don't they?
Whereas Vulcans die if they don't breed. They're opposite salmon. But then, how does Vulcan physiology know if they successfully had a child? Because it doesn't seem like.
It's
Or
not
is that
that
even.
they don't have to have a child; they just have to reach climax.
But then, there. Hmm. Look, there are ways. And then they come up with ways in this episode, and they don't work, and it's not clear why.
Because they couldn't form a psychic bond with the hologram.
It's the psychic part that kills them?
They have to. It's not just that they have to. Uh, hmm. It's not that they
Make
have to
friends.
finish. Their partners has to. The partner also has to
That's.
finish.
Berman, why would you do this?
I'm trying to put it as gently as possible.
I know you are. It's there. There's only so many ways to talk around it. See, Vulcans are part of the
They're
Federation.
psychic.
Why is this not in the Federation database?
Yeah, this makes no sense because Dr. McCoy would have written about Spock, so there's no way.
Yeah. Well, that's the observations that the doctor was referring to.
Yeah. Well, I mean, so how
That
is there little
green-blooded
information?
hobgoblin.
Green-blooded hobgoblin.
Hey guys, just us today.
For the moment. We are also watching Blood Fever, though, so I wouldn't expect that many people to show up.
Yeah, your point about the HR is like glaring because even later when Tuvok does the investigation, there was no pen put to paper about this incident whatsoever.
No matter how private they are, it should be in a book.
No, I'm
A
saying
lot of stuff happens on Voyager, and there's no consequences for anybody. Everybody, the next week, everybody just moves on with their lives,
Well, that's
and
all of
everybody's
Star
friends
Trek.
again. It's really weird.
Yeah, but you have someone like touch another person on their face and like try to do something with them. We don't know what. And there's no security log, incident report that Tuvok can read and see what happens. He has to go to him and say, "Hey,
It's a
remember what happened?
private matter. He can't
Remember what,
interfere with
remember what happened the
Ensign
other day?"
Borg's private life.
No, I'm saying there was an assault in engineering and there's no record of this incident.
Yeah, Vork tried to, like, psychically mind meld with her, it looked like. Grabbed her face.
And he made a pass at her, so like a very unwelcome pass. So at the very least, there should be some kind of log for this.
I imagine on Vulcan, there's like Vulcan Craigslist in case you're going into Ponfar and your mate is unavailable.
Oh, jeez. Craigslist removed the personal section, so
But did
I
they
don't know if
remove
you're
it on
familiar.
Vulcan?
Maybe not.
Yeah, they only removed it in cities and states that like regulated it.
The entire United States they removed it from.
Reminds me
Yeah.
of the Discovery
So-
uniforms. Later
Because the
uniforms.
reason why they removed it is that they passed a law that made websites and services liable if somebody gets hurt, or if there's like sex work happening on your site,
Well,
then
What are
you
the
are liable.
obligations
So they
of a
just,
Vulcan doctor if their patient is about to die from Ponfar?
oh geez, jeez, that
Do they
got
have to
that
go
took a
hire
twist.
someone? Are there like, is this a profession on Vulcan?
Do you remember in Enterprise with T'Pol where she's like, "You have the cure. It's unethical to withhold it," and he's like,
No, I'm into
It's funny
this.
because Fox is always like gung ho, casual intimacy, and this time he's like, no. If any doctor would ever do that for their patient, you would think it would be Phlox.
I think he understood like this wasn't normal for her at all. Like,
Not in
even
the
within
state
Yeah,
of mind to
but-
give consent.
But he's Phlox.
Also, I
He's
don't
got to
think
be. He's like open to other cultures, like things, right?
Yeah. Like, didn't he call basketball similar to like a fertility game on a different planet?
Yeah. But with much more clothing.
It's a fertility game on this planet. What are you talking about?
What was Phlox talking about? He never explained. He just said it's a fertility ritual.
I think the reason why Phlox didn't commit to it was because she could not consent in that given time.
I think the reason he didn't go along with it is the really loud noises coming from your microphone is a good reason.
It sounds like you're driving.
Yeah, I finally went to the gym after like a 2-year hiatus.
No,
Oh,
the
yeah,
reason
that's the
Phlox didn't
worst.
give in to that is because the show would have been immediately taken off the air.
Yeah, oof. I mean, yeah, oh boy, yeah.
Well, you gotta get the Berman cut of that episode and see what happens.
I don't want the Berman cut. We have enough Berman cuts. We have definitely seen this rock face before.
Enterprise, when they had to get the Denobulan doctors out.
Okay, I think this is also from Move Along Home DS9.
Did they have a rock face in that?
Yeah, at the end of the board game, there was this
Yes.
cliff that Dax was like about to die.
Oh,
I think one of them fell, didn't they?
I think so.
yeah, I
maybe?
distinctly remember either
No, I think they all
Cisco
fell.
falling.
No, I think it was Dax that fell.
So, do you want to know the story why Dax looks so pissed throughout the entire episode?
Was it Rick Berman?
It's because the the first person who dies in the board game gets to guest star in Birthright. The one where the one where Data has those daydreams.
Doctor? Was that like part of the contract or?
No, just you would have enough time to guest star.
Okay.
This part is kind of ridiculous because the Vulcan guy, what's his name, Boris? He was supposed to
Borg?
Vork. He was supposed to be on this mission because he's the expert rock climber, and so they brought Neelix.
Why Neelix though? Why not Tuvok?
Unrelated point. My my brand of lemon and lime juice that I buy to make like on-demand fresh lemonade, they switched from a screw top to like a flip cap, and when you try and shake it up, it just leaks. It just leaks everywhere, and it's like,
Yeah.
why would you ever do this? Why?
So this Klingon biting thing, it reminds you of like Kalar. I mean, well, that's what it's referencing to. Because that's the last time we see Klingons biting on the face.
It's
right?
it's a Klingon tradition.
Yeah. But
Doesn't the woman bite Quark?
yeah,
What was her name? I can't think of her name now.
Gurkha.
Grilka.
Lady something.
Grilka.
She like bites him and then she spits.
No, that's the divorce. She spits on him to divorce him. And that's only after a slap, not a bite.
How come we never heard about this third option before, where he can meditate his way out of the Ponfar?
Tuvok is the best Vulcan. Doesn't matter that it's really private. He's got a job to do and he's gonna do it.
It's not private if you're sexually assaulting someone at the workplace. That becomes an HR issue. So again, where's Chakotay in this episode?
I don't think she told Chakotay. I don't think it was
He's in this
reported.
episode. Chakotay's in
He's
this
in
episode
it.
when they go back to the theater. I want a Star Trek series where they just show all the paperwork that they have to fill out for all the shit that happens, like all the crazy, ridiculous shit that happens. But you don't get to see that. You just see like the people who have to do all the clerical stuff, the clerical division of Starfleet. Oh, we're
Lower
cataloging
Decks.
these, kind of like Lower Decks.
They have a whole episode about cataloging the anomalies the rest of the crew comes up with.
Oh, so evolutionary, how does this mechanism develop, right? Because it makes no sense to go into heat every 7 years.
This might be a dumb question. Do they ever explain why they just can't go bang it out on the holodeck?
They don't explain why,
not as
but they
good.
try it later and it doesn't work for unknown reasons.
Okay. I mean, there might be like a throwaway line about pheromones or something I'm just not aware of. I don't know.
Psychic connections.
It's the psychic connection, I think.
I don't think they ever say
I mean,
that.
that's
Oh,
my
that makes more
headcanon.
sense. Yeah. No,
Yeah.
that makes sense.
Just my headcanon, but
Yeah, that works. You guys know this is directed by Andrew Robinson, the guy who plays Garrick on DS9.
Andy, what
Nice.
are you doing?
I know. Almost all his directorial episodes are terrible too. It's really sad.
we have a Duncan Robert McNeil episode, I think, soon. One of these ones that we're gonna see is a Robert Duncan McNeil.
Yeah, all he does is direct now.
Well,
He's a good director, though. He directs a lot of episodes of Resident Alien, which is a pretty good show.
Ah, with Wash.
so my area is
Unity
under a
Robert
boil
Duncan
water.
McNeil, next episode. Wait, did Neelix get injured?
Yeah,
What happened?
Yeah,
to
he
Neelix?
his anchor came out of the rock face and they fell, and he hit the ground and somehow Taurus bounced.
Why the fuck would you bring Neelix?
He said he had
Oh.
some experience.
By
Neelix
the
says
way,
a lot of things.
He's a clown.
Human bodies, when they fall from great heights, they don't like splat. They do actually bounce. So, fun fact, keep that in mind.
Oh, let me go test that. I don't even know where I
Being
would test it. I don't
being an
have big
elastic
buildings
bag
around
filled with
here.
water, it's basically you're like a water balloon.
But if you fall from high enough, you do go splat, right?
You know,
Hey, let me
Why would
Google
you
what
ever rock
happens when a
climb without
human hits the
those?
ground at terminal velocity.
Why would you ever rock climb without those Spock boots from Star Trek Five? Come on.
Gravity boots.
I found it. It's mine. On what?
I'm
Her emotional
having
balance is always disrupted.
yeah, kinda. I'm having trouble finding out what happens to a body when you drop it from a really big height.
You're on some kind of watch list now.
Weren't you gonna test that theory for us, Ryan?
I don't know where to get a big building. I don't have those here.
Okay.
I guess I could
So,
climb to the very top of a tree.
would you rather me take over the stream or Robo take over the stream
The
if something
stream
happens to you?
dies with me.
Okay.
I am the stream.
But these
I'll
aliens
just create.
are so not memorable. Pardon me, Robo. Like I don't even remember them. They just have like foliage wrapped around their head.
Okay, I found. Oh, never mind. It's been removed. There was a live leak video of someone, um, doing that. I don't know if I wanted to watch it, but I found a link, but it's been removed, so I can't watch it anyway.
Curse splat, I believe, is the sound used in comic books.
I heard it described as the sound of a trash can lid being slammed.
Some sort of scanning device.
I like to channel CinemaSins because, frankly, every time in the movies, if you jump out of anything more than the second story, you, if you survive the fall, all your legs will be broken, starting with your
All of
ankles.
them.
Well,
All
How
of
many
your
do you have?
legs.
I'm pretty sure like a few leg bones, if not your spine, would be broken from falling from that. Anything more than the second story window.
I remember once watching like an instructional video, basically saying like, yeah, if you're falling at terminal velocity, try to position yourself this way. Yes, you will shatter your legs, your torso, your pelvis, probably parts of your spine. But if you protect your head, at least you'll survive. And it's like, yeah, I guess, but
Try to
I don't know
position
what kind of
yourself
life
so
that's
that when
gonna
your
be.
leg bones jut up into your body, they don't hit any vital organs.
Yeah, it's like if if you like jump out of an airplane or something parachuting, they'll
Put
give
your
you like
feet together, bend your knees, try to absorb the impact with your knees, bending your knees. I saw Bear Grylls jump from like 60 feet off of a cliff he was climbing.
Why?
I mean, even
guy drinks his
Why
own
did he
piss, though. I'm
jump?
not going to believe anything he says.
look,
What?
evolution works that way. Like you might like I fractured my wrist when I landed when I tried to jump over a traffic cone, and then like my toe on my sneaker caught the end of the traffic cone, so I didn't complete the Super Mario jump that I thought I was completing, and I fell like almost face flat. I'm really lucky I didn't break my nose or my face, but I landed on my wrist and I fractured my wrist, but my head was okay.
Did
Yeah.
Paris catch the Ponfar too now?
No, he's fine.
He's just regular horny.
But if
He's
your
just
ankles
Tom.
and wrists are broken,
He's just Tom.
you will survive, even though you can't walk off.
Yeah. I got hit by a car walking across the street a couple years ago. I got hit in the back too, so it was through no fault of my own. But fractured parts of my spine, but it's just like, yeah, it's like, I'm sure people die this way. You just, you got to live your life. Things happen.
So 3 weeks ago, my friend, well, a little more than 3 weeks ago, my friend's dad passed away Thursday night. Friday night, my friend was riding his bike at night and he got hit by a car really bad and it shattered his pelvis. He had to have like an 8-hour surgery to put it back together. It was really,
Yeah.
really rough. He's coming along though. He's healing up.
Yeah, it's a rough stretch though, man.
Usually your pelvis doesn't really work too well afterwards.
Your family and friends to help you. You'd have your mate to have
Pro
sex with.
athlete career's over. Yeah.
Do we still have
Sorry. This is a really cut, as cheesy as Voyager is, 20 almost 30 years later, the AI issues that are explored with the holodeck, and because in Japan there are people, wealthy businessmen who prefer to just have intimacy with a robot. So as creepy as this is coming to be a reality where you can have a virtual lover, and there's nothing wrong with that.
I'm not gonna lie, having a robot would probably be cheaper than having a girlfriend. Like the initial investment is higher, but long term, it's cheaper.
Yeah. No, I mean, I've heard
Consider
this
dating
argument.
someone
It really
with a
depends.
job.
It depends what
I
you're,
guess it depends on
you're
how
looking
much.
for, though.
It just depends on how much regular maintenance costs. Like tire rotation, oil
You
change,
spend maintenance on
whatever.
them, they spend
Jesus.
maintenance on you. It all works out.
Jiffy Lube, yeah.
You're gonna have a Jiffy Lube for sex spots in the future. You're gonna drop them off, and the mechanic is gonna take care of them. Oh my god, horrible.
Robo, this Vulcan woman on the screen, would you settle for her as a robot?
I'm in the kitchen, so I can't see the screen right now.
Okay.
Sorry. I'll let you know when I get over to the other room.
No,
Yeah, someone in the
yes,
chat's
step
like
away.
Marilyn Monroe robot from Futurama. Yeah.
Oh geez, Marilyn Monroe bot. No, the Lucy Liu bot.
That's right, yeah. But that's the thing, like, it depends what you're looking for. If you're just looking for, like, physical companionship, yeah, that works. But, like, you're not going to be engaged in a real emotional, intellectual way, or, it's going to be artificial. And if you're okay with that, that's fine. I'll just sit back and silently judge you.
Did you see Blade Runner 2099?
I did. Yeah,
whatever.
okay. Yeah, I see where you're going with this. Okay.
It's strange to us, but at some point, I think people would be okay with having a animatronic lover.
Yeah, I mean, it's coming, I'm sure. No pun intended.
Did B'Elanna just swear on my Star Trek? She called him the P word.
Patak?
You're swearing on my Star Trek stream.
Oh my god. You're gonna get demonetized.
Family friendly.
They've been building up the Tom and
How is the
B'Elanna before
FCC
this.
not cool with any swearing, but they're cool with this episode?
As on UPN, nobody was watching.
I think there was nothing wrong with accosting women at the workplace back in the 90s. That was just normal.
FCC is always so prudish. How did this get through in the 90s?
I mean, there was V and S. So this would be violence and sex as a warning. So you get these little TV warnings, but it's not going to censor it like that. But the hot and heavy breathing. They've been building up to Tom and Balana for a while.
Tom, it's not the time for jokes, Tom.
Oh,
She's dying.
Tom knows. Tom knows. I got macaroni and cheese, burnt ends, Hawaiian rolls, and a lemonade.
Why did you burn them?
America. That's the name of the dish, burnt ends.
I like these street people. It reminds me
Yeah,
of Lord of the Rings.
This guy's asking a lot of questions on a first date.
This
We
this
did
reminds me.
everything we could to hide ourselves from you. How dare you not know we were here?
This episode reminds me of that TNG episode where they run into the planet that they don't want anyone to know they're there, so only Data knows that 24 hours passed. And then he wipes out all trace of it from the computer. I know we know Data's lying, but not why.
I guess the FCC was cool this episode because it's actually, taking consent seriously and, like, impaired state of mind. It's a family-friendly, moral play.
And
That was written by Rick Berman.
yeah. And there's no consequences for like lunging at your coworker if she doesn't want you to lunge at her. Also, if Varric is like 25, then how is he having his first Ponfar?
Is he 25? Because it's hard to tell with Vulcans. He could be like 80.
Yeah, but so he's not supposed to be having his first Ponfar.
Yeah,
We don't know
just-
when.
You can Google when Vulcans have their first Ponfar and see.
Well, why would Google know about? Vulcan physiology. Okay, this is not family friendly.
What do you mean? Everybody's still fully clothed. It's fine.
You've never been
Well,
hard to get.
Tuvok
Tom.
isn't.
I'm making
So
an
Tuvok
I'm
isn't.
making an exception. So he's not even denying that he's a rake.
Tuvok isn't having Ponfar, so that implies that every Vulcan has their own cycle. So, what if your mate isn't
Yeah.
synced up with you? Does that mean that you each have your own Ponfar? So you probably have sex at least twice every 7 years.
I mean, my understanding is you can have it whenever you want, not the Ponfar. You can be intimate with your partner whenever you want. Because, like, in Strange New Worlds, Spock
Right,
and What's
right.
Her Face, who. T'Pring, that's her name. They were just chilling.
I think that was like their wedding night or their engagement night.
It was logic and chill.
Don't do it, Tom.
Didn't he say before, I'm sorry for taking advantage of you? What is he
Dunno.
doing here?
Resist. She will, Tom. It's okay. What if... Okay, what if we shoot her? On stun. What if we used a gun?
The doctor is like tiptoeing around.
Was it innovative? It seems like the first thing you would think of when you have holodeck technology.
So your medical stuff can be shared. They just have to anonymize it. Like I saw this lecture on what sugar does to the body by this UCLA doctor. And as long as you like blur out the person's face, you can show pictures of their like pancreas not working.
I can recognize my pancreas out of a lineup. They'll never fly.
You can't. Well, um, Strange New Worlds also broke the canon that we don't know what Romulans look like, right? Until Balance of Terror.
No? Did you watch the episode?
I kind of did.
Because it takes
Wasn't-
place in the future.
It takes place after Balance of Terror.
It takes place during Balance of Terror. It is Balance of Terror. It's just Balance of Terror again.
It's
So they finally...
alternate future
yeah.
balance of terror.
Alternate
Okay.
reality, so they see the Romans for the first time in Balance of Terror again, but this time it goes differently because Pike is there.
Okay. I didn't
Also,
realize
I
that.
should note officially, we are past the spoiler limit for Strange New World, so if you haven't seen it yet, you should probably see it.
And watch Balance of Terror too.
Oh, it's the same cave
I
that
like-
Tuvok escorted the child to her death.
I liked seeing Pike in that uniform. The
That was pretty
like
good.
Wrath of Khan uniform.
They even Discoveryified it a little bit with some more shiny stripes down the side. Looked pretty good.
Well, they kept it very, very what's the
They
word I'm
updated
looking
it
for?
a little bit.
They kept it very faithful.
Yeah.
Wow, he like licks his lips and then goes inside the cave. How come they don't put Chakotay forward? If anyone will do, it could be Chakotay, it could be Tuvok. Why does it have to be Tom? I mean, I know he's sexual.
Because she already bit him. She
Okay.
already bit him, so she's already got his
Fade to
blood.
black. Blood fever going.
No, this is the part where you read poetry.
Worf says in that one episode that Klingon women hurl heavy objects, but we never see that happen once. Nobody throws anything at anyone.
You know, when you exaggerate how good you are in bed, so, I'm a Tyrannosaurus, Ryan.
Just be honest with your partner.
I'm a goddamn sexual Tyrannosaurus.
Of tiny little arms? What are you trying to say there?
Did you ever see the original Predator?
It's from
Wow,
Predator.
there's some lines you could never say in a movie today.
God, Vork,
The
how did you
opening
even
sequence
get
when
here?
they're flying in.
Yeah, it's just casual dropping of the FAG word. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, I went to get a pizza last Sunday, and the clerk called me that. I was dumbfounded. I was so surprised that
That's-
someone would have the. They gave me a large pizza that had one pepperoni on each slice, so it's a 16-inch pizza, and it had one pepperoni
Why didn't you ask for a
one pepperoni piece.
pepperoni's pizza?
And
Pepperoni pizza, just the one.
I was like, come on, guys, there isn't enough pepperoni on this. This isn't acceptable. And the guy got really upset, and he called me that, and I was like, okay, wow.
It's so out of nowhere too. Like, it's
I
not
know
like,
exactly.
because the normal like association is like, if you're doing something perceived as like weak, or you're a pansy or something, they might use that word. But like complaining about the lack of the obvious lack of pepperoni on your pepperoni
Well,
pizza.
clearly, I was dissatisfied. Clearly, I was dissatisfied with the amount of meat on my pizza. So therefore,
Yes.
So
yeah.
Tuvok
But I
gave
mean,
us a really terrible line here. He said, they're following their instincts. They should be allowed to do so. But not following our instincts is like the whole point of civilization.
And, true. And
Much
also,
of the Vulcan.
Balana's allowed
We
to
will not
represent
kill
herself
today.
in the death match. Just like the Tasha episode with no vaccine.
I think this is better than the no vaccine fight to the death.
I mean, the question
That's
is
a
though,
Spike's Club.
she's fighting for the right to mate with Balana.
she's fighting to not mate with Vorik.
Does this even work for Ponfar if they don't have the sticks? Does this count?
Yeah. Right.
It's just people beating on each other.
Yeah. And why is he
It
choking?
might seem
Imagine-
that they live.
There's not even an old priest hanging around with a gong.
There's no volcanic planet either.
Was this always an option? Because this seems like a really easy way to get around it. They didn't fight to the death, they just beat each other up a little.
Just beat each other up in the woods behind an Arby's and get it over with. It's fine.
It just
This
makes
is
me
super
like
easy to
imagine if that's
solve.
That's how most marital disputes end, right? You just fight till you're too tired and you're both crying on the kitchen floor.
Is this when they start dating? Because he respected her choices?
oh,
If
they don't
this-
start dating until after they have that brush with death while they're in space, and they're
shared
hooked
trauma.
up to the same oxygen supply.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
So, if Paris had fought, he would have gotten his butt kicked, right?
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. He
Well-
can't fight. Come on.
According to Star Trek canon. But then we have humans fighting all sorts of people and winning, like Klingons and Jem'Hadar hand to hand.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I don't get that, but whatever. They have 10 times the strength of a human, and then they just get thrown over a table, like double fist punched in the chest, and they're out cold.
She likes him. He likes her. Just kiss already. You clearly both like each other.
You've been breathing hot and heavy for like the last 10 minutes. In the dark.
Careful what you wish for, Lieutenant. Oh! Called
Because
it.
you might get it?
Careful what you wish for, Lieutenant. Yeah.
Them Borgs. The Swedes were here.
Borg sounds Swedish.
Season
Yes,
finale.
we have
That's the joke,
meatballs.
thank
Join the collective. We have meatballs. They must have assimilated some species who has meatballs.
Yeah, they've assimilated
Right?
humans. A lot of them.
Yeah. So here's the thing, right? They assimilate different cultures to acquire their knowledge. What if you just like, hey, I'll give you all our knowledge, just fuck off, and
Biological and technological distinctiveness.
well, give them a sample. Here's
Also,
DNA
1 minute
sample.
to Unity. Everyone queue up Unity.
It just seems like
They don't
the Borg goes
negotiate,
through a
though.
lot of effort.
You can't sit down and pound out a contract with the Borg. They're not going to
Well,
stand
it
for
turns
that.
out
They'll
you
just take
can
it.
do that.
Yeah.
Oh, well,
In a few
yeah,
episodes,
okay,
we're going to do
fair.
exactly that.
That's the entire series is them pounding out agreements with the Borg.
Every Borg episode
and
is
then-
always retconning the previous Borg episode across all the series.
And then we have an episode in Picard that
Yeah, it's tradition.
a whole
Originally,
season,
the Borg were
season
just a
2 of
force of
Picard.
nature, then they weren't, then they had a motive, then they didn't have a motive, then they kind of did again, and then they were buds. They were friends.
And then they were like a collective mind, and they
Borg-
had like a
Borg are
hierarchical mind.
friends.
Then they went back to a quantum sensitive mind.
Borg are where you want them to be. Also, you should press play in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, play.
The Borg are whatever the plot needs them to be at that current
Yeah.
time.
That's the Delta Flyer.
No, it isn't.
No. Oh, here's the other thing.
It looks weird, but
You guys hear me? This
no.
shuttle.
You're completely silent.
This is the Type 2, and I think that we're gonna have. This is the new set for the Type 2 interior, but we still have an episode where they use the Next Generation interior, but then they use a different exterior model in the exterior shots, so like it just is there's this mix-up. But
This is weird. Some random ensign who
fight
has
scene-
lines. A lot of lines.
Yeah, she's
Is she
kind
about
of
to
in the
die?
fight scene, yes, in the fight scene coming up, Chakotay is holding a phaser. He gets tackled. He drops the phaser, and then they cut to him like getting back up, and he's got the phaser on his belt again. And then they cut back to him fighting, and he doesn't have a phaser, and then he picks it up off the ground. So
It's fine.
watch closely.
Though it does remind me of you remember in The Last Jedi that big red fight scene with the royal guards? There's a bit
Yes.
in the fight where the guards are armed with knives or swords or something, and like one of them is clearly in a position to just stab Rey in the back, and there's no reason not to. So they just digitally edited out his weapon for a shot.
That's
Like,
Yeah,
that's
I think I know what you're talking about. He just awkwardly looks at her, and he's like,
Like the actor had a weapon in his hand. Just stab her.
Yeah, it reminds me of there's a real life photo of the Kent State massacre where a female student is like crying over the crumpled body of a student that was injured. But there was a fence in the background, and when the newspaper, Newsweek or Time Magazine or Life or whatever published it, they photoshopped out the fence. And the picture looks so much better, but like you're not supposed to Photoshop the news.
Does it? It looks like a cave.
But those burning garbage cans, that's pretty Bell riots.
Wow, she's got a gun. I hope they brought their own gun. Yeah, they did. So anyway, how's the weather?
There's a solar flare about to hit us.
Okay, it's probably fine. We're being hit by solar flares all the time. It's a matter of degree, and it's probably fine.
We're just waiting for the big one. That's going to knock out the entire power grid and fry all the microchips. Ryan, have you started The Expanse yet?
Nope, completely forgot about it.
Okay.
Is
Well,
it on Amazon
so-
Prime?
yeah. Somebody on our Discord server made a really insightful observation, though. So in the Expanse, like the ships are located like hundreds of feet away from each other, and so space battles are like much more realistic. Even like the way bullets fire in space. Whereas in Star Trek, like you still have the ships right next to each other, as though you're still on a 2x3 television screen.
Okay, I opened up Amazon Prime because I was going to look for The Expanse, and Amazon has no idea what I like, I think. It says, Prime movies we think you'll like. Lamageddon. George Carlin stand-up special. Pokemon 3, the movie. The Hobbit.
You like the
War
Hobbit?
Games. World War Z. What are any of these?
This is a great episode, because it is like we rarely get to see ex Borg besides Hugh.
They're called XBs.
Sorry. And at least they're not being harvested for parts. But also, like Robo was critiquing the Borg just before the episode started, and like I think it is established in Voyager that like the Borg started out as some kind of like voluntary technological bionic enhancement society, and then they turned into this. Well, then there's V'ger involved also, as per the Shatnerverse novels.
Is that a Klingon?
Oh, this episode shows that there is a Romulan Borg, which is contradicted by the Discovery canon.
Wait, what?
You
So
mean Picard canon?
yeah, sorry. So as per Star
Picard
Trek,
season 1.
as
Oh,
per Picard season
Romulan
one,
Borg. I thought said they're in the Romulan War, and it's like, what are you talking about? What
sorry, but
Romulan Borg?
as per Star Trek Picard, there's been no assimilated Romulans because they're so afraid of AI, because their culture has for thousands of years preached against the dangers of artificial intelligence. And
Well, I
here
don't
we
think
have
you get a choice. You're like, no, I do not consent to being assimilated. Thank you.
They can't
no, but
legally assimilate you without your consent.
they imply though
Just say
that
no.
like the Romulans have always had some kind of like special immunity or shielding from the Borg.
They just self-destruct instead of getting captured. And then they did get captured.
Like the people who were on the special cube, they were like the only Romulan ship that was ever assimilated by the Borg. It's like the the Borg won't assimilate the Amish because the Amish are so out of the way.
I'm trying to find more information about that. It looks like it might be they were the only Romulans assimilated by that cube,
Okay,
not
okay.
by the
Sorry.
collective in general.
Okay. Thank you.
I'm still trying to confirm that. It's very vague.
Because we know that Romulan technology is a whole different basis. Like their warp cores run on singularities, which are black holes.
And sometimes aliens use those black holes as a nest and break
Yep.
the time-space continuum.
Yep. You know, I remember when I was in
Cause and effect. Yeah. Cause and effect.
I remember when I was in college, someone was suing the superconductor, sorry, the Large Hadron Collider, whatever that's called, because they thought that it would create a black hole, and that black hole would destroy the Earth. So they took it in front of a European judge, saying, "Look, these people are like going to make a black hole, and that's going to destroy everything. So I want an injunction to stop them." And then, like I later read that, like the LHC is creating microscopic black holes.
Yeah,
They're
it does. It
subatomic.
just doesn't matter. Well, it
Yeah,
matters to
they just
them.
they disappear immediately, and all they have is data. You know, but yeah, that's actually what happens. But it's funny. It reminds me of when they first started nuclear testing, and they're like, "We're pretty sure it won't ignite the atmosphere and destroy the Earth, but we're not positive."
Yeah.
Turns out it doesn't, though. Thankfully.
Yeah, but I was amused to learn that the crazy guy suing in court was right. That's exactly what they're doing at the particle accelerator.
Yeah, he's right, but his concerns are still.
But he's
are still
totally
over the
100% wrong.
top. He's right in the wrong way, basically.
Yeah. No, I thought he was completely crazy. I was like, who can create a black hole? But apparently they do.
Hey, I'm just waiting on those wormhole aliens, the prophets, to show up, man.
Yeah, how come Cisco was never like, hey, could you maybe help us find this ship that's lost in the Delta Quadrant and bring it home?
He didn't care.
Omnipotent wormhole aliens.
He's got other things to worry about.
His own war shit to worry about. Yeah, come on.
I don't think the prophets have any say over the Delta Quadrant. Just live in the wormhole.
That's a good question. Like, what's the limit of their powers?
They don't even understand like linear time. Like Cisco has to tell them over and over again it's not linear.
God.
I wish Avery Brooks would come back and do Star Trek again, even if it's just like a one shot on Lower Decks or something.
He is.
Is he? Oh no, I didn't know
the
that.
whole
Is he
Deep
coming
Space
back?
Nine staff is crew, the ones that are still alive, are coming back to do stuff.
Oh, cool. Okay, I guess I don't keep up on that as much as I should, but oh, that's neat. Okay, because yeah, he just like every interview you see with him is like he's wearing sunglasses. He's just stoned out of his mind.
He is changed a lot since Cisco.
Well, all he wants to do is like sit at home and like listen to jazz and get high, and it's like, yeah, like you've earned it, man. Like that's fine. You can retire however you want to, but you know the fans still want you back, man.
Like
My God,
I
Janeway,
really
just
like.
leave.
Yeah. I really like this episode though because it's like I do like the Picard arc where like they rehabilitate a Borg cube, and this kind of prefigures it, foreshadows it.
So
I mean, you
this
could set up a
episode
scientific
makes it
base.
seem. This episode makes it seem that deborgifying a drone is super easy.
Yeah.
And the Picard season 1 makes it seem like it's really, really, really hard.
I mean, even Seven with deborgifying her was a huge like we never got rid of her implants, and here these people are as good as new.
Well, they get rid of like 90% of the implants, I think is what they said, like 80 or 90% or something. But the thing is, it's like, go ahead.
I was gonna say, I don't know if it's cool to discuss the latest season of Picard, but yeah, there's a point where
Everything
Seven
in
is
Star
really-
Trek is past the spoiler cutoff. If people haven't watched it, that's on them.
Okay, so the newest season of Picard, the Borg Queen, back in time, you know, assimilates like a bunch of random Earth dudes, and then Seven and everyone else is just like blowing them away, like not even trying to rehab them. And it's like, isn't that fucking up the timeline? One, but also, yeah, like
No, they're just military
seem to think,
meatheads.
like,
They
oh,
don't
once you're
matter.
assimilated, yeah, once you're assimilated, like, oh, that's it. Like you're just dead anyway.
Yeah, you're right.
And you think Seven of all people would understand, like, oh no, you can come back and be a regular human.
And the Picard season 1 also shows that like even when you're de-assimilated, you're like still mentally shaken. Like you just do puzzles in a room all day.
Yeah, it's like a PTSD thing. For sure.
Yeah. You know, Chakotay, I don't think Chakotay finds a better romantic partner than this woman, as far as I can remember. She was kind of good for him. Except, she manipulated him to do something and hijacked his brain with the Borg implant. But
But still making spooky Borg sounds.
I think a Borg cube would make a great research station once you rehabilitate it. Yeah, I mean, you should be very, very wary when you go on a Borg vessel that's abandoned.
This episode really should imply to us that we're going to be getting a Borg season, because I don't know if they had this set left over or if they built it again for this series.
It looks brand new, if you ask me.
And if they built it, we're going to definitely be seeing more Borg.
Yeah.
That's expensive.
Sorry, what year was this episode?
1934.
We're watching the Guardian of Forever episode of TOS with Edith Keeler Must Die.
97.
Thank you. So First Contact was being produced at the same time. Or released already. First Contact was 97.
What? First Contact 97,
96. Sorry.
96.
Okay. So, but it doesn't look like the First Contact set at all. Like it looks the tubing looks brand new.
There wasn't much of inside of a Borg cube in First Contact. Only the scene where he has a flashback in this dream at the beginning.
Yeah, the hallways were filled with like Borg.
Yeah,
lights.
that was probably all.
That's all you have to do. Like
Defeated
hallways
by
are
an
always.
enemy even more powerful than they were. A little bit of foreshadowing for 8472.
But
It's not what happened in this case, but it will happen.
it's very similar though to Balance of Terror, right? Because you have an unknown enemy that's attacking outposts. Then in Best of Both Worlds, you have that same unknown enemy attacking outposts. And then here also attacking outposts. Well, now it's Species 8472, but
Have we established yet? I'm still
No.
Googling stuff. Have we established yet how they knew it was a Federation starship?
The signature, the energy signature.
Yeah, but
warp
how would they know
signature?
the name Federation in the first place? I assume one of these people is a human, but did we establish that?
yeah, they're Alpha Quadrant people that were brought here on a Borg cube.
Oh, they're playing the dramatic reveal music.
What I really like about this episode, though, it shows that like even if you're all like one cybernetic hive mind, it's really hard to get along and achieve consensus like all the time. Democracy is like such messy business, government, politics, running a society. It doesn't get easier just because you have cybernetic implants.
Well, Chakotay's had a bunch of romances. Does Janeway count in the hot tub monkey episode?
I'd say so, yeah.
Oh, she does have
The
Borg
Borg.
implants.
Yep.
Yeah, someone mentioned in the chat earlier that it was
No,
just
sorry.
underweight.
They're still pretty Borgy, just not 100%.
She looks a bit
Like-
like what's her name from Star Trek: The Motion Picture? With the ship head. I wonder if
Oh,
that's
she was assimilated by Captain Picard.
Persis Kambata.
yes.
This guy's a Romulan.
Yeah.
Yeah. But is he a northerner or a southerner Romulan?
Where's the Irish accent? They should have picked up all this Borg technology after this episode.
So she knew it was a Federation signature because she was at Wolf 359. She's a Starfleet officer.
It's pretty depressing, actually. She's the survivor of Wolf 359.
Are Romulan.
Also, the chilling thing is like when Borg drones are separated from the collective, they go through like the worst agony possible just because they lose their guidance system. And you have to relearn how to be an individual all over again. It's almost like if you leave a religious cult and you like lose all your friends and family because they don't want to talk to you anymore because you're not part of the cult. It's pretty sucks having to start your whole social life all over. New friends.
Just
new
don't join a
family.
cult.
Yeah, but what if you're born into it, you know?
Are we sure we want this on the ship? Could we bring in some security officers or... Also, that actor just moved his eyes a little bit.
They never watched Alien on Voyager, huh? Because you gotta have a containment field over.
Could we take a precaution?
Just lean over the Borg. Just get real close. Put your face
Right
right
next to
over
the
it.
tubules.
Yeah. Here's a good idea.
It's
Oh, let's
100%
start
gonna
stimulating
wake
stuff
up.
now.
I can feel it. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Wow. Who could have seen this coming?
It's so funny. I was telling my coworkers once that like in Japan and Korea, they eat it's not live octopus because the thing is not alive. But
It's not alive, but it's
when
alive.
you cut
It's
when you
alive
cut
enough.
you cut the tentacles off, it's still moving on the plate, and it's been known to like attach to the throat of the person who's
Oh
eating it.
yeah.
And
You
choke it on
pour
the way
soy
down.
sauce on it, and it
Yeah.
it activates the muscles and it starts writhing around. But there
So-
are, dude, there are dishes where they serve fish
Yeah.
that are still alive, and they fillet them alive, and they serve them, and they're still like they're
So-
legit still alive, not
but-
just.
I was telling my coworker that like, look, you know, they eat food like that, you know, in the Far East. My coworker's like, oh, I can't eat food that's if it's still alive. I said, no, it's not alive. It's just moving. And she goes,
It's alive
"Well,
enough.
It's alive to me."
If it's moving, I get the feeling that you get into a lot of uncomfortable conversations with your coworkers.
I watch too much Star Trek.
What does Star Trek have to do with it?
Here's the thing, like
This
this weird stuff is like
They're not eating the Borg.
no, but you know, Dach is like that too because it's meant to be eaten alive. So
I've gotten this pre-made macaroni and cheese before, and I remembered when I was getting it, I was like, I got this once before and I didn't like it, and I still don't like it. I don't think pre-made macaroni and
ordered-
cheese is a good idea.
I
ever.
ordered an octopus on my salad at a Turkish restaurant once, and
Why?
the thing wasn't moving. and it tasted really bad. So dead octopus doesn't taste great. I can vouch for that.
What's
So here,
They just assimilated
what are they? What's that
chicote.
fried? Was it
calamari.
calamari?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's squid.
Right,
Is that
yeah.
octopus?
It's squid, like little baby
Okay.
squids.
Well,
Okay, my bad.
it's calamari.
Delicious. It's delicious.
Specifically, it's calamari.
Right.
Yeah, but like the genus, or I don't know anything about animals, so I wasn't sure if that was like the same thing as like what you
Yeah,
guys were talking
it's
about.
like a
Here,
squid or cuttlefish.
here they
Okay.
peer pressure
Good family
Chakotay
there.
to get a Borg implant, just so they could talk to him.
You guys remember a few years ago there was like a thing going around where some companies were trying to do like surgically implanted Bluetooth devices for people. You remember that? Like there were fundraising
No,
rounds and
what?
stuff, and I think eventually they just killed the idea.
Elon
'cause
Musk.
it's weird.
Elon Musk is working on that, isn't he?
Is that okay? Yeah, because it was on like on Shark
Didn't-
Tank and stuff. It was weird.
They were doing it. They were doing it with monkeys, and didn't like all the monkeys go bonkers?
I
And,
heard
like, to
there's
charge it, you have to insert a pin into your like the base of your neck or something stupid, and it's like nobody's gonna want to fucking do this. Like, come on.
I don't even want
I
an
just-
Alexa. Who wants an?
I don't want an
Bluetooth
implant. I
implant.
feel like we could. I feel
Well-
like we could do something transdermal with like electromagnetic waves to just hijack part of your optic nerve, and give you like a heads-up display.
we already
Yeah,
Without
have
that's
having
kinda
to
like,
actually-
I don't want
An episode of Black
technology
Mirror.
hijacking my optic nerve. I like my optic
already-
nerve the way it is.
we already
I'm just
have,
saying it could be non-invasive. It could be transdermal, and that way you can
Yeah.
just like there's no surgery, there's no risk. You just if it's something is wrong, you just take it off. Whereas like if you had an actual implant,
we
Yeah, like
already
in Black
have.
Mirror, they use like a contact lens type device. You know.
yeah, they have that now, and it's bizarre. I was watching a video on it. It's not super great resolution, but they cram motion tracking into it and accelerometers and the OLED screen. It's like 240 by 360 or something resolution. It's not great, but it's monochrome. But the contact lens looks super uncomfortable because it's so thick.
Yeah.
We already have like RFID tags that you put in the skin of your pet, and therefore if
I
they
was
run
just going to
away,
bring that up. RFID
And-
tags. I saw a news piece once about a guy with an RFID tag in his wrist, and he used it to like open his front door.
yeah,
But
and
I had two major problems with it, which is one, it only worked like half the time, so he had to carry a key anyway. And two, like opening your door isn't such a monumental task where I would want an implant to do it. It's just opening a door. Like, who gives a fuck?
I saw a lady who did it with her Tesla valet key. So she took her
Oh.
Tesla valet key, which is just a card. It's an RFID card, and she melted it in acetone to get the RFID chip, and then they implanted it underneath her skin. So she always has her valet key on her.
Nice.
But
I didn't mean to cut you off, man, earlier, whoever was talking, but yeah, I thought that was a funny story about the guy opening his door.
yeah, it just seems a little waste of.
but we're only a few years away from being Chakotay here.
Yeah, like probably the next generation of people. Or
Right,
They might
so
even be alive now.
If you do it for your pets, it's just a matter of time till people start putting chips in their children, just because we want to track our children, right? And then once you have children that grow up with chips in them, then you'll have adults with chips in them.
Well, it turns out that those kids who get chips never grow up to be adults. So there you go, problem solved.
No, I mean what I'm saying is though, like another useful thing for that pet chip that I talked about is that you could have a little door at the base, like a pet door, but it only opens up for your pet, so raccoons won't be in your kitchen, when you turn around.
Except when your dog lets them in. Your
but
dog
it's-
just stands there and it opens and they just all walk in because your dog's.
Well, I have a
"Yeah,
cat.
they're new friends.
I have a cat,
Cat,
so I'm pretty
dog.
sure my cat will like not let anyone else in. She'll just run in.
You never know.
She knows better.
Does she? Have you sat down and talked to her about stranger danger?
No, I really love this team because like even if you all can read each other's thoughts, you still can't come to an agreement. People are so diverse.
What
in their
were they?
interpretation.
Well, Chakotay, they were reused shots from previous episodes. I was
I
trying to
wouldn't want
identify
people
what
to read
episodes
my
those were coming
thoughts.
from. I definitely saw Romulus. I think I saw Cardassia. There was some footage from the Dominion War in there.
It's called a montage.
I'd be in so much trouble all the time.
For reusing footage?
No, for people reading my thoughts.
I think we all like Beta Zeds have that same problem, but they're just used to it.
How can you police your thoughts to not think anything rude like all the time? You know what I mean? Like, I don't know.
Just be nice.
Look, I try really hard to be nice, Ryan, but I have to internalize the negative that and not. You know, you can't like you gotta let me have that. You gotta let me have it. The internal negativity. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is an episode with Balana, right? Where someone bumps into her and she has a negative thought. Is that coming up, or did we already have that?
I think
Did we have that before you switched to one day a week?
We might have already had that.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's like, you know, I can't. You gotta let me have those internal.
So they're one collective consciousness, but they're hiding the fact from him that they're gonna play him and make him their little monkey to do their coconut picking.
Oh, that's season 4. We haven't seen it yet.
Hey,
Random
Argos,
thoughts.
Hello.
Argos.
welcome.
Yay. I'm here for the Voyager.
The Starship
Voyager.
Voyager, the Federation Starship.
Starship.
A starship?
Starship.
We're about to activate an inert Borg cube. Do you think that's a good idea or a bad idea?
It's a terrible idea. Come on.
I'm gonna turn on the Fukushima power plant.
I'm sure there'll be no negative consequences.
Ensign Kaplan? Who's Ensign Kaplan?
Has anyone seen the movie Eating Raoul? Raoul? The it's a wacky comedy about cannibalism.
The what?
Anyway, but Robert Beltran is in that. He's really great in that movie too.
That's so funny.
Does he
Plays the
give us an
titular,
Akuchi Moya or two?
Raoul.
Oh yeah, in the montage there was an Akuchi Moya.
Oh wow.
There was
And
no
the spiral?
audio for it, of course, but it was definitely Akuchi Moya.
Like even when they're one unified command collective, like they're bored with their own thoughts. Like he appreciates Chakotay's newness. Like the reason I think about this is because like anytime you have a form of truth and you try to keep it, you know, if you look at church history or history of religions, you try to say like this is the truth now and forever. And 100 years later, somebody's like, no, that's not the truth. This is the truth. So like human truth is always fracturing, and you can never have consensus on what the truth is. It's kind of a crazy thing.
Pretty deep, man.
Yeah. So I mean, I see this in the Borg Collective too.
Yeah, these are heady episodes for sure, man. Like lots of interesting subtext and themes and
So, the collective, the neural link, they somehow healed Chakotay by thinking nice at him, which means for the Borg, thoughts and prayers actually work.
That means they're Christian scientists. They do faith healing.
Also, this is blatantly evil, right? Forcibly assimilating everyone on the planet?
Yes, I would say so.
The cube.
Chakotay, how are you going along with this? They're talking about
Yeah.
assimilating people.
Because
What's
he has a
wrong with you?
personal connection. It's all lovely
Because she's
dovey.
pretty.
This actress was the main girl in the 1981 horror movie My Bloody Valentine. But other than that, I can't think of a single thing I've seen her in. So, I guess
Oh,
that's
really?
it. Yeah,
I don't remember.
that movie's okay. It's not great, but it's kind of interesting slasher movie.
Isn't that the one where the guy who thinks he's seeing things, but it turns out to be something else?
Yeah, there's like a sort of surrealistic aspect to it. Yeah.
Sorry.
But that was 16 years prior to this, and I still haven't seen her in
Yeah,
anything
she
else.
must have looked quite different. Chakotay knows already. She doesn't.
Sorry, what do they want to do with that transmitter? You guys are saying she wants to assimilate people?
She wants to assimilate everyone on the planet because there are different factions that are fighting.
No. Okay, so she wants to unify it into one collective. They're
By
already
assimilating them, yes.
Yes, whatever word you would like to use.
You just
Yeah,
use
it's like
the
ends justifying the means kind
you
of
just
thing.
use the
Yeah.
He's
antenna
not
to
assimilating
broadcast.
them into the collective. She's
Just
inviting
broadcast
them
gonna
into the
do is
cooperative
use-
forcefully.
Use the Borg's power, basically, to
broadcast
Yeah,
propaganda.
They'll learn our
It's just a
peaceful ways by force.
forceful,
the Borg don't
forceful
need
invitation.
propaganda
Yeah.
because the thoughts of everyone in the collective are the propaganda.
Okay, thanks. I didn't get that part.
And then in Picard, I think it's in Picard, they establish that being assimilated is like euphoric. Well, not the assimilation itself, but when you're in the collective, it's a little euphoric. So
Yeah.
she's
It's like
also kind of chasing a high.
the Borg Queen like gets into your head and just like opens up all the rooms in your mind herself.
It's like a positive reinforcement loop, isn't it? Like when you obey a command, it's like makes you feel the
Oh, you're a good
dopamine.
boy.
Yeah, and you're like, I like obeying commands. I will assimilate everyone.
I don't need my individual identity anymore.
It's not that you give it up, it's that the force of the rest of the collective snuffs your individuality out.
Yeah.
You don't need to have an individuality anymore because you have the collective directing you what to do.
Yeah, and like you can fight, but you're gonna lose.
You can fight, but your opponent is billions, if not trillions, of other voices that have agreed already that this isn't right.
Yeah.
You can see the plotting on her face.
What part of her face
Even
is
a
giving
little
it away?
scheming.
It's funny because usually Starfleet officers like, yeah, I have a career. I can't fall in love with you. I'm just gonna leave you on this planet. Bye.
I know how they could prevent her from doing this evil assimilation plan. They could give Neelix a transceiver, so if they forcefully assimilate everybody, that will include Neelix, and they won't be willing to do that.
Neelix like causes some sort of logic bomb within the collective.
There are no Borg Talaxians.
Talaxians.
They were like
But
the
yeah,
Kazon. They're not
I
worthy
think
of
the Borg
assimilation.
destroy Talaxians when they find them. They're like, nope, we're not. Nope.
Talaxians are to the Borg as tribbles are to Klingons.
7 of 9 established that the Borg assimilate cats and dogs, but not like lower level life forms.
All in your head, Chakotay.
Chakotay.
It's in your
No,
head.
do you want to mention the fact you were assimilated like 12 hours ago?
They should have called this episode "Looking for Parmok in all the wrong places."
Also directed by Andrew Robinson.
Oh, really? That's cool.
Although he didn't direct this one, he directed the prior
Yeah,
episode.
the prior
Chakotay,
one.
come on, man. This one was directed by Tom.
I like that he actually shot her. Like he's serious about this. Because a lot of the time, like someone pulls a phaser and they get talked down from it. No, Chakotay's doing this.
People only ever use the gun for evil. There's so many ways they could use the gun for good, and they don't.
And plus, like that's his closest shipmate on the whole ship. So like, there's no way like our Chakotay would ever shoot Bolano.
At least
We're
he did use a
Chakotay,
gun.
that sounds like a collective mindset.
Like,
Bunker doesn't look like it's under attack.
you didn't see the lights flicker just now?
Okay, fine, it is under attack.
I suppose you would just do what the Borg wanted to stop them whining on you. Like, shut up, I'll do
I
it.
mean, the people who are attacking the bunker are totally in the right, though, because they're trying to forcefully assimilate them. They're trying to preserve themselves.
Yeah, but they know how to do it right this time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure
By doing
that's
it
what
exactly
happened
the
with
same
the
thing as
first
what the Borg
Borg
did.
collective.
Guys, if we just put our
we're
brains
just
together,
helping each other.
we don't need to talk anymore. We can talk inside.
So Chakotay's fired after this episode, right? Lose his job?
No.
It was not. He was under the influence of cybernetic implants.
He shot Balana.
He was under the influence.
Gets a DUI.
But in the future, next time somebody offers to put some circuitry in you, just say no. I didn't realize Chakotay's XB too. He has XB.
Why would he move
Paint
like
it like
that when
a
the guy
horror
clearly
movie
didn't
where
notice him?
Starfleet officers are the alien villain.
I think a lot of species do experience that reality.
I guess.
What, XB?
Don't threaten. See, there's the problem. Tuvok's threatening him. He should just shoot him.
Hey, Harry Kim did something for once.
He gets a promotion for that. Oh, no, wait, he doesn't.
Yeah.
Okay, time for Voyager to leave. Time to go.
Yeah.
Why did that one thing turn a Borg cube on when a Borg cube is supposed to be a distributed system?
Yeah.
This is not with the lore. The lore isn't right.
Oh, this is so evil.
Yeah.
That shield effect's so cool.
Do the Borg not have shields?
And
Not the kind of shields that the Federation uses.
they just jut their arm at people to like.
Is it the
I
Borg
think the
cube?
thing
It
is that
seems
they
like
don't need shield.
there's never a shield impact. It just kind of takes it, and then there's nothing prohibiting beaming.
The whole point
that's
is it's supposed to be so massive that it doesn't require a shield. It's just like you can't destroy it because it's so big.
Yeah, it just starts a self-repair mechanism right away. Like your skin cells.
Yeah, the Borg cube is 3 kilometers cube, so it's just supposed to tank all the damage.
Yep,
can't
they
remember
gave
the
up
name
their
of the game, but-
individuality. They're done.
There used to be a game that you could play where you could like go against different ships in Star Trek, I would always go the Borg cube because it was just so tanky.
Now the next episode we have a special guest star.
Well, here Chakotay gets exonerated because you're right. This is like court-martial stuff.
Nah, just 1 2-minute conversation in sickbay. That's all it takes. Oh, sorry, less than 2 minutes.
Oh,
Like
did you
20
see the
seconds.
biobed move when he got off? Biobed was not anchored to the ground.
I don't think he was acting against his will because he was on their side in the conference room.
Was that because he was under the influence already?
I don't think he was.
No, he was under the
I think that
influence
was
of
just him.
that was him being in love.
Well, they assimilated an entire planet, Janeway. What are you talking about?
They just consolidated all the other ex-Borg factions. That's completely different than assimilating everybody.
The nacelles are up. The heck, Chakotay? It's messed up. So, I assume they come back in beta canon, probably Star Trek Online, but as far as canon Star Trek is concerned, the cooperative has ceased to exist.
It would have been smarter for Voyager to transfer to the Borg cube and then take that home.
No.
They just
Screw
used the
that.
Borg cube to get home, the transwarp conduit.
Yeah. Or at least just like you're in a tank though, right? As opposed to little Voyager.
It's a
I mean,
Borg
that's
cube.
basically how they get home at the end of the series. So
Yeah.
All right, well, 1 minute to the final episode today, The Darkling. It's about the...
AI.
Well, we already had an episode where someone gets possessed by a ghost and turns evil, and now we're doing another one.
It's more like Moriarty.
But it's the Doctor. Doctor just turns evil for an episode, but it's okay.
Only because he was trying to be like Gandhi.
Yeah, don't be like Gandhi. Gandhi had issues.
It'll confuse all your subroutines if you try to be like Gandhi.
How did starving himself convince people to leave them alone? How did that work? Also,
Not
press
so
play in
well.
4, 3, 2, 1, play.
it
Seriously, how
eventually
did that work?
it eventually required violence. Gandhi was an interesting character. He had some very interesting ideas around chastity and how to test your chastity.
Yeah, in
Yeah,
Christie.
wasn't he like a creepy sex pervert?
But the,
Yes.
the
Yeah,
question
He was a
about,
creepy sex pervert with
The question was about his nonviolent
people who were
strategy.
not of age.
The question was about his nonviolent strategy, not his unique views on how to remain celibate. So he read Thoreau.
Yeah, I was diverging.
He read. Yeah. Well, it was Robo that brought that up, not you.
Okay. Yeah.
But Gandhi had read Thoreau, and I think Emerson, but Thoreau was against the Civil War in the United States, and he refused to pay taxes, and he spent like a month in jail because he said, like, I don't want to pay for a war. And so Gandhi read about that. So it's ironic because everybody attributes like Martin Luther King Jr. with reading Gandhi, but Gandhi read
then he
Thoreau.
threatened to nuke the British Empire, right?
So what Gandhi realized though was that by using the media and public opinion, international opinion, that like you may lose a few people if
here comes the special guest. Here comes the special guest.
Yes. Wow, what a guest.
Nope.
Is the monster the special guest?
No, you'll see. You'll see. Here it is.
It's the
There it
gun
is.
the guest?
Yet another Veron T disruptor. I'm getting the impression
Oh,
that
the gun is the
somebody
guest.
told Kivas Fajo a tall tale about the rarity of the Veron T disruptor. Seems to be pretty ubiquitous.
There's only 7 of them in the Alpha Quadrant. The Delta Quadrant is full of them.
I think that he said that there was 5 and he's got 4.
There are only 5 for very large values of 5. I don't recognize this set though. Is this a new set?
No, this is like the same place where in Deep Space Nine, where O'Brien was infiltrating the Orion Syndicate.
Are you sure it doesn't?
Or
Maybe.
is it where
It's definitely redressed. It might be the same
Yeah.
building.
and then I feel like also Enterprise when they're like dealing with the Orion Syndicate.
Cass is getting a boyfriend. Moved on from Neelix
What?
real fast. It was super easy.
When did they break up with Neelix?
A couple episodes ago.
Okay, when I wasn't here. Oh, here's Gandhi.
What? Why Gandhi? Do they? What's Gandhi talking about? I
Keeping
mean, I don't know
yourself
what Byron's talking about either, but what's Gandhi on about?
keeping yourself bottled up.
Is Gandhi a Vulcan?
This just makes me think of Gandhi 2 in UHF, where he has a machine gun.
No, Byron, come on, man.
I also heard in like Sid Meier's Civilization 6 or something, like if because they programmed Gandhi's subroutines wrong, like you're likely to wind up with Gandhi starting World War III with the first nuclear strike.
So, that particular story is apocryphal, but yes, Gandhi is very nuke happy. Of
But this
course,
is why
3 humans and then 1 alien.
AI subroutines are very complicated things.
Is T'Pau... Is this version of
Hard-
T'Pau also kind of like a... Not a terrorist, but like a social deviant? Like an Enterprise?
So, Gandhi was in the background there. Do you think his glances at the lady were free of carnality? He's got to follow
I
his
know
own
Lord
teachings.
Byron's weren't. Lord Byron... I mean, I agree with Gandhi on that point. Lord Byron needs a cold bath. Dune needs to chill.
Too much carnal energy.
Just a little more insight of how that nonviolent liberation of a country from colonialism worked was that he was so prestigious that like he was even able. So the British put him under house arrest in like a mansion owned by like a really rich figure, and he went on a hunger strike if the British didn't stop doing one policy or the other. And at one point, his own people, Hindus and Muslims, were fighting each other. So he said, I'm going to go on a hunger strike and kill myself if you guys don't stop rioting and killing each other for religion. So basically, he was so influential, he used the fear of his own death to like scare the authorities and the population into submission.
Yes, fear is the ultimate tool of control.
Basically, if I die, you're going to have a riot that you're never going to be able to put down. So just change your policy, and I'll go back to eating mangoes.
But he would have killed himself. It's hardly their fault.
Yeah, I mean, he was able to pressure them into like leading the country.
I'm imagining Gandhi as like a child holding his breath until his parents do what he wants.
It's actually impressive that, in a sense, that Gandhi was allowed to do what he was doing, because most
Fun
other
fact.
places would have just like got rid of him, if you know what I mean.
Yeah,
Fun fact: Gandhi died regardless.
That's generally what
Yeah.
happens to people, yes.
he was assassinated by a Hindu extremist. But yeah, you're right, Argos. Britain was a rather civilized power because they could have just kept mowing down people who tried to peacefully protest, but
Wait,
they weren't gonna.
so the whole thing about Gandhi's thing was that if he died, there would have been riots because Gandhi was a super influential guy. He was pretty cool. He was like a really accomplished lawyer and stuff. Were there riots after he was assassinated?
Yeah,
happened?
there were. Yeah, there were. It was pretty bad. Like thousands of people died in the riots afterwards.
Okay.
Sorry for possibly mishearing. Did you just say that Britain was a very soft superpower?
I'm just saying
They were
they
pretty
weren't
chill in
gonna.
their colonization of India. Yeah, it was fine.
They were quite happy
No.
not to assassinate Gandhi, which I don't think any other powers of the time would have.
I
They
don't
weren't
think they were
gonna.
happy about it.
They weren't gonna mow down people by
Yeah,
the
maybe.
tens of thousands. Even though they
We
could
had
have.
we had decided that doing that wasn't cool anymore, so we're gonna get with the cool kids and let people have self-determination.
They were used to just showing up to places and being like, this is mine now. And they weren't used to someone saying, no, go away.
You mean the British Museum?
What are you doing, Doctor?
I would actually deck him right now if I was Torres.
I mean, she does threaten.
That was a wildly unprofessional, Doc.
I mean, you could try to deck him, but remember, he's a hologram and you would just fall through him.
Was that the Gandhi in him?
Oh, that was the Lord Byron. Well, I don't know how much we want to trash on Gandhi here, but
I don't believe in the deification of historical figures.
I mean, it
but
must
that
have a
was
very
definitely the
boring
Lord Byron, because
existence.
Lord Byron has no chill.
George Washington never told a lie. Okay.
George Washington,
what do you
the
deify
dude who showed
instead?
up to
People love
every meeting in
deifying
full
stuff.
military gear because he was like, no, I want to be in charge.
Personally, I deify like Italian pizzerias. That's what I like to deify.
Jesus Christ.
I thought you held the subroutines for review, Doctor.
No, not Jesus Christ. Pizzeria.
Not that.
Jesus
I'm like,
wasn't even a good carpenter.
Jesus
He couldn't even
Christ.
make a pizza.
actually, there's a funny little argument about that where people believe that it was a mistranslation and he was actually a Mason.
Cheese and rice.
The first
Mamma
Freemason.
mia.
Hess still has short hair here.
Yeah.
What's this planet they're on?
It's
Why
the
is there
planet
pine
of Christmas trees.
It's
Northern,
it's a gas station planet, basically.
they found a Christmas tree nursery.
We're like, yes, we need some of those.
They
Let's put some
totally
fake
did.
rocks here.
They actually just bought a bunch of Christmas trees.
They're pines.
Yeah.
So humans.
They might be pines, but this is also an indoor set.
Yeah.
They're not real
Do
trees.
you think they're fake? Yeah.
They could be real trees.
They look real. 'Cause
Yeah.
Let me rephrase.
back-
They're not trees that are currently sprouting out of the ground. They are
Yeah.
placed there
Potted.
deliberately.
Well, 3 moons. Someone photoshopped this.
This character reminds you of like the Rangers from Lord of the Rings, because it's like I'm just in a mysterious cloak.
Or the Babylon 5 Rangers.
He's
Yeah.
cosplaying as Legolas.
Oh, yeah.
Argos, Legolas wasn't a ranger. He's talking about the Dunedain, Aragorn's company, who we never see in the movies. But don't worry about it.
It looks like he has a Borg implant on his nose.
Yeah, it does
Oh,
look
that's
like he
just
has a
them trying to
barcode.
disguise the Bajoran makeup.
He's just, you're right. He's just a what you call it, discount Bajoran.
Icheb.
He looks
You
like
know-
one of the engineers from Prometheus, actually, a little bit.
There actually could be
Except he's
something
not
really funny
13
about
feet
that.
tall.
Right.
About his nose?
Oh,
How long do you think the caretaker was abducting people?
a good while.
You think he
100
might be a
years.
Bajoran?
I genuinely think that the overlap between abductions and how long Bajorans had space flight might contribute to his appearance.
Yeah, did
Mm.
Cass tell that guy that she's 3 or 4 now? Maybe.
Oh, wow. I don't think she can tell him that she's 3 after that.
What is the legal age for a? What is she again?
Ocampan.
Ocampan?
Ocampan.
Apparently,
Speaking of Gandhi,
How does the transporter
Gandhi,
chief
no.
know that Kess is like all happy from the sex?
And space doesn't have time.
You have a glow about you, Kess. What's up?
Yeah, but the people on the ship do have time inside their bodies. Speaking of which, what would the Vulcan's circadian rhythm be like? It would not be in sync with human time whatsoever.
No.
He probably
I'm
has
a
to
big
take like
proponent
3 power naps
like-
per day.
28-hour days.
I know that Vulcans can go for like a couple days without a severe issue arising.
Why are Vulcans just better than us in every physical way?
Well,
Because
if
they're
you look at
space
them,
elves.
yeah, but if you look at them biologically speaking, they should be eating about 18,000 calories a day based on what they've described
What? Why?
because of their increased metabolism and body strength.
But that's based on our human measurements. It doesn't necessarily translate to them.
I think it's
But you
based
still
on conservation
energy
of
is energy. Yeah, so like if you're
No,
gonna
their
expend that much
biological
energy, you have to
processes could be
consume-
more efficient than ours. They probably are because
Well,
they're
there's
Vulcan, you know.
There's an
they're
absolute
better.
minimum of energy you need to take in. You can't have more energy out than you take in. You know what I'm saying?
I think the
So-
Vulcans eat 2,000 calories a day, and then they photosynthesize an extra 16k.
Is that why they have green blood?
No, that's the
Yes.
copper.
It's the chlorophyll. It's the copper. Yeah.
Is there not an
No
episode
copper,
where there's like
chlorophyll.
something poisonous to only Vulcans and it's because of the copper?
Yeah, it's
Something.
the man trap. It's the salt vampire.
Which series is that in? Is it
The
original?
original.
Series.
Yeah,
God,
it
you
tries
could
to go
get
after.
so much wiring if you recycled a Vulcan.
A Vulcan.
Don't listen. I'm already on the shit list from my DM for coming up with fucked up body horror shit. Don't encourage me.
Recycle the Vulcans.
Hey, Kess is in uniform.
I mean, the Vulcans
Oh, and
themselves
she's
would
all
probably
bedraggled
subscribe
'cause she stayed up all
to
night.
recycling, wouldn't they?
Is that none of your business? uh,
Her new boyfriend is a bad influence on her.
how much coffee do you think she's drunk?
A whole nebula.
Yeah. Ryan,
What
is your Janeway look
percentage
here?
coffee is Janeway by body weight?
No. What percentage of her blood is her coffee is blood?
What's her blood coffee level?
0.18.
If she ever gives blood, it just comes out as like raw espresso.
If
I
someone
know,
who's
on a-
100 pounds eats 1 pound of Cheetos, or 99 pounds and eats a pound of Cheetos, they're 1% Cheeto.
1% Cheetos.
Wow.
No,
But you
because they have an extra pound, right? Or did you say 99?
That's why I adjusted to 99 pounds and then they eat 1 pound of
Okay.
Cheetos.
I do know for a fact that when I was cramming for my finals in college, my max caffeine intake could be 4.2 grams over the course of 24 hours.
Isn't
Also-
that above the safe dosage?
Yes, but 5 is
Significantly?
lethal.
Also, Cheetos are mostly air, so a pound of Cheetos would be like a gigantic
A lot of
bag.
Cheetos.
A couple grams of actual material.
Well, Cheetos are actually cow food if you look at them nutritionally.
Oh yeah, I mean, I feed my cat dry food, and Cheetos is just dry food for humans.
So can you live on Cheetos? Is that how it works?
For a bit,
No,
yeah, for sure.
yeah. For like, if you had to eat nothing but Cheetos for a couple days, yeah, you could do it.
I get salt headaches after one bag of Cheetos.
I
The
mean, you could
cows
get
eat
by
cow
eating
feed
nothing for a
indefinitely,
couple
don't they?
days, but
Oh,
Cheetos.
they don't give them the cheese.
Your fingers
What
would
if
be
you
a
ate
mess.
only Cheetos and then a bunch of vitamin supplements?
And a bunch of antibiotics. Don't forget that.
Speaking of that, at my work, they want us to swap out our laptops that they gave us during the pandemic to work from home. And I'm like, but they're going to give you back somebody else's laptop after they wipe the hard drive. Like, I don't want somebody else's Cheetos covered keyboard. I would like my own laptop back.
If you listen, if you just say, "Hey, I live with someone who's immunocompromised," they might give you an exemption, and you can totally make that person up.
So, what coating on the keyboard would you accept? Doritos, Fritos,
Human
would
hand
accept-
oil
potato
is
chips?
okay.
What's
Human
okay?
hand
I would
oil is okay.
I would accept normal human hair and skin fibers.
Do
What
you ever
about
think
salt and
maybe they're
pepper?
taking
Your
the
skin
laptops
has
back
fibers?
to clean them?
Well, yeah, collagen, but
Hair fibers.
Why don't you just clean your own laptop and tell them job done?
No, they're just swapping them out because it's easier for them.
What do
What
you
do you mean
mean?
swapping them out?
them up for
What
what?
do you-
They said
why? Why?
there's a security upgrade, and they can't do it from the remote upgrade. So they want us to physically give back the laptops.
why not just throw a number on it? Like, just put a
Why
sticker
not
that says
just go
A13.
there, have them do it while you wait, and then take yours back?
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you say, "Hey, listen,
It would be
I'm
one thing if you
emotionally
get a new
attached
one.
to this laptop.
I'm emotionally attached to my laptop. It's fairly normal.
I would go for the health reason, and can you completely bullshit your way through it?"
He's so
Is this
creepy.
man
He's
evil?
That's
He
not what
feels
those
evil.
health reasons are supposed to be for.
He's not. I
Yeah.
don't remember him actually being
That's a
evil.
lie, though.
he reminds me
Just
of
the
the
doctor
Scottish
gets
ghost.
weird and jealous about
Why
it.
is he wearing a rug?
He's taking clues from Jake. Jaco.
Hey,
He's like,
God,
don't besmirch him. He was living in a space station.
that's what you get when you put Jake and Neelix's fashion sense
Why
together.
do people who live in space stations wear upholstery?
They're not.
So that when you fall over into the bare metal, you don't get injured.
I mean, it's Cardassian engineering. There's probably like sharp corners everywhere.
Great nails sticking out of the floorboards.
Bloody
Yeah.
Cardassian engineering.
It's like booby trapped and everything. They
Like-
couldn't even make the floor level with the floor when you're going through hatches.
One of the handlebars is literally just covered in razor blades, and you have to get a tetanus shot.
I remember what happens here now. Okay.
I have
So-
no idea that this episode even is. I don't remember it.
Kess is pulling a Beverly Crusher, and she's like resigning her commission from Starfleet to live with the Space Ghost.
I think I
Well,
skipped this
Argos-
episode because it's bad.
Do you remember? Well, how do you know if you didn't watch it? But do you remember
I don't
when
know.
Rayo Vantica possessed Siddiq al Tahil al Fadil Abdurrahman Muhammad Ahmad Abdul Karim al Makti?
I think so.
It's basically that, but for the Doctor. It's
Wait,
the same
who?
episode.
Who got possessed? What was it again?
Ryan, we finished Deep Space Nine like a year ago, and
I never get the opportunity to say Siddiq al Tahil al Fadil Abdurrahman Muhammad Ahmad Abdul Karim al Makti anymore.
Wait, Bashir's real
He's
name?
just waiting on that one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Alexander
Siddig's
Siddig.
actual name.
Okay.
And I was like, it sounds like a kind of name you'd have if you were royalty. And Ryan's like, no. And we looked it up. And he's a Saudi prince, not Saudi, but
Sudanese.
Sudanese prince, right? I was like, yeah, see, it's a type of name because they give you like the name of every through like the patriarchal line, you know, because
Like his father
they
was
they
Tahil
maintain
and his
lineage,
grandfather
Yeah.
was Fahil. Or some such.
right? Yeah.
I remember learning about it, his saying about him where he was sent to London was like a suitcase full of mangoes because he loved mangoes. And I remember thinking, that's kind of weird. And then I remembered that on my 7th birthday, I requested just one thing, and it was just mangoes on the list.
Wow.
Lol. Was that why, or was it just completely unrelated?
Pot calling the kettle black over here.
Johnson, El Tahil, El Fadil, Abdurrahman.
I like this part because like I'm not a computer programmer, but like I know from playing computer games with friends that like when you make an update in coding, it can mess with the whole rest of the code and cause slowdowns that you never even imagined. So personality subroutines of holograms are just like that.
It's like the Gandhi bug.
It's a feature
Yes, the
now.
Doctor's about to unleash the nukes.
So the bug was that they had like a aggressiveness scale on the different world leaders, and Gandhi's was already 0. It was a or 1 or whatever. It was the lowest. It was like 1 to 10 or 0 to 10 scale, and Gandhi was already at the lowest. And when a civilization achieves democracy, it lowers their aggressiveness by 1. So when you lowered his by 1, it went to 255 because it's an 8-bit value.
Yeah,
So
value.
it wrapped all the way around. So as soon as Gandhi achieves democracy, he just starts nuking everybody.
Now, the thing is, that is the popular story, but it's not actually true. That story is
Oh,
apocryphal.
really?
So
Oh,
saith
really?
Sid Meier himself.
Yeah, that's like a
I don't know,
Gandhi
man.
Y2K story, really. Remember Y2K?
I'll
don't
post
know.
the
I don't know.
article in the general chat. Sid Meier himself has debunked and is like, no, that's just the way it is, man.
He had that so fast.
I don't think so. I don't
It's
think
literally
so.
the creator of the game saying that's not what happened.
I don't know. I think he's just trying to save face and be like, yeah, we didn't make that mistake.
Yeah, but the same principles that work in this episode, in that you can't be just assigning values to personality traits. Like it looks easy, right? When you have
Well,
Moriarty
Well,
and Leah Abrams.
In Civ 1, the AI didn't use different scripts for different civilizations, so it was just funny that Gandhi was threatening to nuke people.
Oh, okay.
And then I think in later games,
It's Leah.
I'm
Leah
not sure if
Brock,
this is
not
true,
Leah
they
Abrams.
might have made him more nuke happy just because it was funny later on.
Thank you, P. Felon.
I never realized how
jump in where I
terrifying
can,
it
'cause I
would
don't
be
know
to have
anything
the
about
killer
Borg.
actually be the Doctor.
it's like Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde here. He had his own
Yeah.
little. I'm surprised they didn't make that like connection with
I
this
mean,
episode.
the name of the episode is called The Darkling, so they really do mean that there's a Jekyll and Hyde component to him.
Where are my car keys? Where did I leave you? You beautiful little keys.
This is why you need an RFID tag.
My
Melted
car
right
keys
after.
have tritium connected to it.
There you go.
So-
That'll
so
help
they
you
go-
find it in the dark.
So they're slightly radioactive. Nice.
Very slightly
That's the
radioactive,
problem
half life
there.
for 20 years, it still glows.
All right.
Well, all right. So 10 years ago, I put tritium night sights on one of my handguns. And this year, I bought a new
Why?
one that had the same brand night sights on it, but new. And I put them side by side, and the new ones are so much brighter. It's like maybe a quarter of the brightness.
10 years
the
is
old ones are.
the lifespan for tritium on watches. For I've heard.
Half-Life.
Yeah, I mean, like you really need to replace it after 10 years, even though it looks great when you buy it. So I'm not
Why did
surprised.
I put tritium sights on my pistol?
Yeah.
Is that the question?
Yes.
So I can see them in the dark.
This
Is
doctor,
the answer
Oh
to that.
my god,
What are you
he
shooting
looks
in the dark?
the
I can't-
acting of Robert Picardo here is really amazing because his eyes are all psychopath. Like
those are
he's about to,
contacts.
like he's about to start harvesting organs over here.
Watch his hair throughout the episode. Usually when they have him be evil, they like fluff out what little hair he has.
Yeah.
God, this is terrifying.
This is
Ugh, so creepy. So creepy. Ugh.
he's Who's that? Not Dr. Joseph Mengele over here.
No,
Yeah,
that's nothing
Nazis.
human.
Yeah, that's later.
Jesus Christ.
I mean, you'd think you would want to just download a personality and like improve yourself, but it's actually a really bad idea.
Well, it's kind of like the same reason why you wouldn't just download something off the internet onto your computer.
Really?
Yeah, I wouldn't do that.
We do that all the time,
That's
though.
crazy. What are you talking about?
Well, without having proper whatchamacallits.
Antivirus protection.
That's it.
Hey, you wouldn't download a car.
I would.
You wouldn't download a car? Yes, I would.
In this economy, I would.
I would 3D print a car.
Yeah, I would.
So, fun fact: a lot of car parts are now 3D printed, and especially ones that are supply constrained are being 3D printed, and they're shipping cars with 3D printed parts that are probably not ideal, unless they are.
But have they reduced the
Some
pretty much
price?
machines
covers
are
all the options.
interconnected. Bad program.
Have they reduced the price of what, the car? Because it's
Yeah.
3D printed? No, it increases the price. It's the
Bullshit.
opposite. Wait, 3D printing is more
It's-
expensive than traditional
It's hard to
manufacturing.
manufacture particular shapes with 3D printers.
It's hard to.
but
Well,
wanna hear-
3D printers allow you to manufacture shapes that are impossible to manufacture with conventional.
Alana's doing the same voice she
Methods.
did when she was full Klingon in that one episode.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, she's just talking to her teeth.
Also, did they like put ring white contacts around the doctor's eyes? His eyes look smaller.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah,
They
is
made
something
it
up
look
with
like
his
his
eyes.
pupils are blown.
That's what happens when you take too much LSD.
You turn evil.
How would you know, huh?
Your pupils go so big they look like leopard eyes.
You
What's
take
up with your
LSD,
eyes,
you
doctor?
start drugging people.
I mean, oh man, this is so
This is like a
nerve-wracking.
Jack the Ripper type scenario, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, what the fuck is it?
He's
Yeah,
stalking.
definitely. Love his posture. It's just so unsettling.
Even his like mouth movements are so unnerving.
Yeah,
He
Picard
looks
is pretty
familiar. Have
accurate.
we seen her before?
It looks like Valerie Archer.
She looks like Shelby. Lieutenant Shelby.
Oh, he's got carnal in his eyes.
Only I can do the elevator glance.
Yeah, Tom just upset he's not the creepiest guy on the ship anymore.
Look, Tom was brought on to be the sex appeal in the show. Okay, it's not his fault he was written that way.
It's all in the haircut.
Oh, wait, Tom was supposed to be the de facto, sexy boy?
Yeah, he's Deanna
Yeah.
Troy.
No,
Does it work?
really?
Notice when he's evil doctor, the hair on the side of his head's all like messy and matted.
Yeah, it's all ruffled
Gross.
and bigger.
Yeah, Ryan mentioned that a minute ago.
We've been over this, Robo.
Oh, sorry. I'm
That
split
happens in the
between two
mirror
Discord
episodes.
calls simultaneously.
On the
Yeah.
Enterprise. Archer gets different hair when he's
Oh, my favorite scene.
He just leaves Gandhi and Byron running, arguing with each other, and Socrates and T'Pau.
They're not arguing,
Or-
they're
He-
debating.
Hmm.
They just need to get a room together and just go at it.
Okay.
You can't say that.
Nuh-uh.
Is this the guy the doctor attacked, or was it the other guy?
Other guy.
Okay, they look kind of the same to me.
Well, they're the same species, so what can you do?
That's space racist.
Spacist.
Oh, he's alive.
Everyone's wearing contacts this episode.
They're aliens. Does
Alien
Kes wear contacts or just the wig?
Just the wig and the ear.
It's
I love
not
how-
running. It's on the mobile emitter. It's a separate system.
I love how the Doctor's like personality begins to break down.
I love this part so much.
Oh yeah, Gandhi's head spinning.
Gandhi, no.
Gandhi moshing.
There's like a Socrates with just upper torso and nothing inside.
Yes, why do you look horrified by this? They're just holograms. Relax.
I'm horrified.
So simulacra is a postmodern philosophy term. So when you have a simulation, but you forget that it's a simulation, so you start confusing the simulation with reality, and that's why it's called a simulacra.
Does
Was
that
that
count
taken
if like you're
from
playing in
the
VR
cave?
and you try to
Yeah.
grab something that's not there?
Shadows of the Cave. Algorithm.
Yeah, like a phantom limb or something. Yeah.
Oh, I yanked your comm badge. Haha, I win. I can't just say computer, contact the bridge and like have the computer do it without a comm badge, could I?
You'd figure that they would do that with, even though they have so many guests aboard Voyager for a safety reason.
She could just grab the mobile emitter.
You could just
Yeah.
grab the mobile emitter and yank it off of him.
Or break it in half.
Just yank it off of him and he'd turn off, right?
Step on it.
Well, you don't want
This
to
is
ruin
when
it.
Harry Kim should be like, "Oh, we got phaser
I
fire
crave
in the
the strength and
transporter room."
certainty of steel.
Does
Hey,
the
I
doctor
wanted to
have
point out.
weight?
Here's a question though.
If you throw the mobile emitter in the air, does it fly as high as the mobile emitter would, or a full-grown man?
That's a good question, but the other thing I wanted to point out was why can't he put the mobile emitter inside? Like, why does it have to be on the outside?
Because of the
'Cause-
way that it emits.
Like, yeah, a
Yeah,
projector.
but I don't think
has to be
that
outside of
matters.
The television image.
Well,
We
obviously,
see
it's
later
still
on that it
projecting-
can project images
it's-
around itself.
Yeah, it's
what you
it's
need
projecting
to do is,
the
because
back
this is a
face the
TV show,
doctor.
you see, we need to make sure that you remember this is a hologram walking around.
Yeah, well, yeah,
Also,
that's what
too-
it's there for, really.
With tech that advanced, they could probably do what you're asking, but
Like,
it's a
Yes,
plot
your
device as
hand's
much
right
as
next
it
to it,
is
just
a
grab it.
device.
it's also the 90s, so like saying, "Hey Alexa, call the bridge," wasn't
Oh,
really an idea.
I can see the
The
contact now.
computer. They
Yeah.
they make requests to the computer all the time. They don't
Yeah.
push their comm badge. They don't have to go near a console.
This is a
The
very
computer,
brave
adjust the
2-year-old.
lights. Computer, blah blah blah.
Every time we mention her age, she gets younger.
But I highly recommend everybody read the book Jekyll and Hyde by Stevenson, Robert Louis
Mhm.
Stevenson. It is such a good story, and it
And-
brings you
Sorry, continue.
nothing. It just the whole 18th century London, with dirty streets and potholes and carriages and
And the
what we call
colonialism.
and the brownstones and also the scientific age of discovery, because it's all about tinctures of this
And potions.
and tinctures of what's it called?
Salt. It was like a weird
Yeah.
salt that he found.
Yeah.
What's really funny is that Jekyll and Hyde isn't a classic split personality story. If you read into it, it's more about addiction.
Yeah. Well, not even addiction, but the chemical itself is magical, actually. So it's about an elixir that you can never replace.
But
Totally on that Russell Crowe
Jekyll
movie.
deadass says at one point, "I can quit Hyde whenever I want," and then he can't quit him.
Yeah.
Some kind of scattering field.
Scattering field.
Some kind of interference.
What does that mean?
Like photons?
Photons be free.
Residual photons still bouncing around.
That's not how
Yeah, that makes no
photons work.
sense.
You know what would have been really funny if they showed that his boots actually had a Starfleet logo tread on the bottom, and no
It
other
would make
Starfleet boots had
sense.
that.
Wait, didn't we actually see that in Lower Decks? Isn't that a thing?
I think in Discovery or the
In
newer Star Treks
Discovery,
have that.
there's a blooper where God, what's her name? Michael. Where Michael has to like stomp on something to break it, but it just like sticks to her boot and she holds it up to the camera. So it's kind of there. It's a blooper, but it might be canon. What are you talking about?
This is Gandhi speaking.
I thought this was Lord Byron.
It is
It's
partly Lord Byron.
it's all the conflicts between the Doctor's personality and all the other people that he tried to integrate, and also it causes a breakdown in subroutine. So his file is like just conflicts.
So, is this a breakdown in code, or is this like a worm that somehow integrated itself with the main program?
It's like an emergent personality.
Yeah, it's like a worm that's eating the original personality out.
This is
You
why
might want to rephrase that, your review.
This is why we use version control.
Lol.
Just reset the Doctor to a previous
Yeah.
version.
They didn't have Wikipedia back then, so you couldn't have version backups.
What? Why do you need Wikipedia for version control?
No, yeah, you're right though.
What do you
But what
mean?
I mean, Wikipedia is the way.
Yeah, you're right. You're not a programmer.
Sorry. Yeah, but because they already had the backup of the EMH, like last season or at the early of this season, when they deleted the diagnostic EMH to reintegrate into our EMH, so they can't do that again.
They're using his matrix as an external hard drive for the Doctor.
But didn't we already do that? Yeah, right.
He is altering the deal. Pray he doesn't alter it any further.
Uh-oh, Doctor going wibbly wobbly.
Why doesn't she grab the phaser? It's right there. He just left her by it the whole time.
Well, a toddler can't use a gun.
I'm sure we've seen Kess use a phaser by this point.
This is why Robo doesn't have kids.
I do not have kids. I
Giving
do not
his
want kids
2-year-old
ever.
child his tritium-sighted handgun.
Yeah, yeah.
All right, when we review Innocence, there's a little thing that I have a spiel about.
Huh?
The one where Tuvok murders a child?
Kind of. If you don't look at them children, but instead of dementia patients, it makes the entire story a lot more palatable.
Dementia patients.
I
Yeah,
think
it's a euthanasia episode.
I think
It is a euthanasia episode. Isn't it?
the episodes where like a
In
main character has to act completely different, like in fact the opposite personality from usual, is so much fun for the actor. Because I can
Mhm.
imagine like it's really boring playing the Doctor. Like you have to be that same irascible curmudgeon, and when
Yeah,
you
I know
get to be
Spiner got sick
And
of
then-
being Data, so he would ask to have episodes where he could do other stuff. You know.
Some people have a lot of trouble acting as a different personality. For example, Siddiq El Tahir, father of Abdurrahman Muhammad Ahmad Abdul Karim Al Makti, has some, issues playing evil.
I mean, honestly, just tap into that augment arrogance and boom, halfway done.
Yeah, that's true. He's royalty. That's why he has that arrogance built into him.
And he's British.
Yeah, he's from
I
London.
think
too.
I think
he's
Siddig just
a-
has trouble
piece of
acting in
British, yeah.
general.
Oh, that's California.
What about what was that, California?
Yeah, that was I think a national park in California that I visited as
Oh.
a kid.
Wow.
I mean, the whole show's filmed there, but yeah. Southern California, to be specific.
How does that work?
What, shooting the doctor?
No, beaming the doctor.
You beam the emitter. Except it plays the visual effect over his whole body. I don't really know.
His voice is such a snarly rasp.
So he's the crazy, overprotective father with a shotgun sitting on the porch.
And he's the
so
guy.
here's a bad
he's,
influence.
he's the boyfriend with the motorcycle that you don't want your teenage daughter
Whee!
dating. How did they stop the momentum?
Don't worry about it.
Technology.
They use inertial dampeners to put them vertically.
They're just atoms that were like assembled elsewhere, so those atoms won't have the momentum.
But they still have that little jolt that they act out, which is funny.
Yeah, because they probably would be reacting to suddenly being stood up, not actually moving.
Yeah, it's like a psychological.
Like you know when you kind of fall asleep and then you get like
the
whoa.
JJ verse.
Yeah, but that's not canon, so it's fine.
It's just in the alternate universe, transporters work a little differently. Except it didn't conserve all their momentum, or they would have bounced and or splattered.
Yeah, they just they transport them in, but then they just explode into a massive pool of viscera because they were going so fast.
Does that also work if you're the ship is moving at a different velocity relative to the planet? Do they slam into the wall?
Don't worry about it.
So Kes should have left this episode,
and died off the cliff.
No, she
Lived
should have.
forever.
She would have gone gallivanting around the galaxy like Vosh and Q.
She's gonna do that
then,
anyway, and she don't need no man to do it.
Then Voyager would have got home 10 years after they did.
True.
The background is so painful to look at with the panning.
Oh, the lines.
It doesn't work.
What's wrong with the lines?
They're
They
very distracting.
shimmer and weird. It's weird and it's uncomfortable. I don't like it.
I don't like change.
I don't like things that are different.
Why are you watching this show?
Well, because this is old. It's the new stuff that's different.
Ah, I see. This is status quo now.
I wasn't.
Yeah, you're right. The new
watching
tracks
this in
aren't
the '90s. Okay, so that was
I was
the last
watching this as it aired. So they had this show, and they had a show called Nowhere Man that aired kind of concurrently with Voyager for a while. I think it only lasted 1 or 2 seasons. I liked it. But
I remember Nowhere Man. Yeah, I used to watch a bunch
of Nowhere Man?
Yeah, shows like the Sentinel. Yeah, Nowhere Man.
The Sentinel. Yeah, the Sentinel was great.
Yeah, Platypus Man with Jason Alexander. Platypus Man was Richard Jenny. Yeah, there were a slew of failed UPN shows that were really fun and weird. Shasta McNasty.
Next week, we're watching Rise, which is an Neelix episode. It's a Neelix episode about an elevator.
Oh, that's actually a really good one.
Yeah, it is. I remember it as one of the first Neelix episodes where I actually thought he was an okay guy.
Yeah, and he gets the respect of Mr. Vulcan.
And then it's Favorite Son, where Harry Kim is tricked into thinking people like him.
Is that the one where he's on the other place?
It's the
Typical
other.
Harry.
He's on a different planet, and they make him think that he was actually an alien from that planet who had his memory
Oh,
altered and now
yes.
he's
Yeah.
returning home.
The crazy planet with all the crazy people.
And then they like give him a fake one-night girlfriend so that he'll be receptive to the human sacrifice. Don't worry about it. And then
Yeah, you know.
before and after, which is the episode all about foreshadowing things, some of which they did in later seasons. It's where Kes travels back from the future and tells them about like the year of hell and stuff.
Yeah. Wait,
Wait,
does
what?
that explain why it's so short?
It doesn't explain why Voyager did
They
literally
speedrun
nothing
it.
to prepare for this thing. As I recall, Kes like gives them the frequency to the temporal torpedo so they can defend themselves, and then once they get to Year of Hell, they just forgot.
No way.
I don't think that there is a way to defend against them. She just needed
No,
the
that's the
frequency
whole
so they
point.
could
Kes
they
is
could
like
neutralize
desperate
the
to give them the information.
chronoton radiation. No, she needed it to neutralize the radiation in her to stop her from jumping around time frames.
We'll
This
see.
isn't the one where Kess comes back and like blows up the ship a couple times.
No, that's
I just
that's
watched
Fury.
it last night. Or a couple nights ago.
Okay. So next week, we're gonna see that, and it's gonna be something for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Gonna be a thing. A thing will
And,
occur.
after that, August 28th is the one where the Doctor gets a family and B'Elanna traumatizes him.
And people say you don't understand suffering, and then he just never admits to anything.
Oh, is that another one
God.
where he gets the flu? Or is this a
No,
different one?
that's the one where his kid suffers like a brain aneurysm, and there's nothing they could do.
Yeah, he watches his kid die.
Yeah.
What?
But
and
his
people
kid
say-
was perfectly fine until B'Elanna changed the program and killed her by proxy.
Yeah, she made her obsessed with Parisi squares, which even in TNG they said no kid should play this, period.
Yeah.
And then after the episode where the Doctor gets traumatized by the death of his family, we get the dinosaurs actually went to space and escaped the asteroid episode.
That is a
We
good
do.
Distant
one.
origin.
So here's the thing. I kind of hate Ancient Aliens bullshit because it kind of makes everything look stupid after.
What do you mean?
Well, I mean, like, if you have, like, okay, so are you familiar with the Mormon history in the United States?
Yes.
Yes.
They said that, oh yeah, the ancient Mormonites had steel mills and they made iron swords and whatnot. And I'm like, okay, I can understand losing an iron sword, but how the fuck do you lose a steel mill?
How ancient do they mean? Because if it was
Like,
like millions of years
Mormonism,
ago,
like-
or, you know.
100 years
Yeah,
old or
it's
less?
a co-
Like 50?
1,000 at the very most.
Oh.
So
Well, I
The-
mean,
the
sand does build
Mormons
up pretty
think-
fast. I don't know.
that like the descendants of the Israelites came across the land bridge and are the Native Americans.
Yep.
And when did Mormonism is like what, the 1800s, when the
1820,
guy
I just looked
the
it
guy
up.
Joseph Smith said he found the golden discs that only he can see in like upstate New York or New Jersey or something, and then he went to Utah and started his little cult thing. When then he got run out of town because
He kept on
He
touching
was-
kids. Yeah.
well, I guess he was having inappropriate relations with a bunch of wives in his church.
Now Utah's
and
all weird.
I don't know anything. And then he went to this town nearby, and the mob caught up with him and killed him and a couple other dudes. Anyway, interesting times, funny stories. But they have some weird space stuff in their religion, don't they? With like,
Yeah.
if you're a good enough Mormon, you get your own planet, and all the people you converted are like serve you in the afterlife.
That part
When you-
got
when you
deleted
die.
30 years ago, but they just say you become God, and then you can watch your
Well, that's
Adam and
way
Eve.
better than just a planet. You're a
That
god
that
now.
part got deleted. I'm guessing is like, yeah, we took
They're
that part out.
recruiting
Wink, wink, nudge,
slaves.
nudge.
Well, that
Like
part
that's
got.
too crazy, guys.
So,
Um,
do all the people who become slaves, is that like a fake holographic version of them? Because they were converted so they get slaves too, right?
no, they are. I mean, back then they were physically your property that you observed on your
Oh,
planet.
it's like an MLM.
Yeah, actually, yeah, that's a really great analogy.
It's an
That's your
afterlife
downline.
MLM.
If you convert 10
Yep.
people, you don't
Yeah.
become a slave at the end of eternity.
And they'll convert 10 people, and
Oh,
each
you're
of
a
those
slave,
people
but
will
you have
convert 10
10
people.
of your
Yeah.
own slaves.
But I have a weird, stupid retcon about the Voth.
Okay.
Yes.
So we had the 37s, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Why don't we just say that the same species that kidnapped the people also kidnapped dinosaurs?
Like 100 million years before?
Yeah. And then they got assimilated by the Borg.
Well, have the Voth done anything about the
Yes, that
Borg?
tracks.
The Voth
They
don't do
haven't
anything
needed
about
to.
anything. They just sit on their city ship.
Yeah,
No,
they were
pretend to be
like
British.
they're insanely advanced, but they have spent so much time procrastinating that they're not insanely advanced anymore.
Hmm.
They're just sort of more advanced.
So kind of
They're
like
advanced,
40K.
but they don't do anything with it.
Yeah, I suppose if you're if your technology towers above everyone else, you don't have the pressure to advance, do you?
I mean,
We
that
could-
could
we
explain
get-
why in Beta Canon, when the Cardassians met the Bajorans were 100 years behind the Cardassians in tech.
What?
Didn't we prove that the Bajorans traveled to Cardassia first?
Yeah, but they were on
Correct.
Doesn't mean
some
they've got
like
better tech.
solar sail and just got caught up in a tachyon current, and it was a whole weird thing.
It's the equivalent of like being swept out to sea by accident and finding an island.
It wasn't really tech, it was just they happened to get lucky.
That's funny you mentioned that, Argos, because that's how a lot of like islands in the Pacific got
Mhm.
people on them. Is that people were like going out to sea in like rafts and they just got carried away and
Well,
ended
that was
up
a
on
deliberate
islands.
effort most of the time by the Polynesians, because they would get to the point where one of the islands was overpopulated, so they would have to. A
Just
group of
fling
people would
people
have
out to
to
the
leave.
ocean.
Essentially.
It's messed
And
up.
there's a really
Yeah, I
interesting
wonder-
theory about how they might have managed to get to South America based on similar linguistic quirks.
If they did, sure there would be a genetic link as well.
Yeah, I'm
Good
sorry, I
test,
haven't looked into it.
Okay, so I'm gonna go shopping.
All right.
Oh.
And
Are we all going
Lame.
with you?
do you wanna go to the grocery store?
What are you shopping for? Oh, are you gonna get avocado toast?
No?
What?
Sorry,
Make
I
sure
have
you
to
get
go.
avocado toast.
I don't
Oh.
think you can buy avocado toast. I think you have to. I don't know if they even sell
Oh
avocados.
god,
there.
you put it in the microwave or something? Ugh.
I don't know the last time I even had avocado anything. Whatever, I'm
Alrighty.
leaving. You guys go and do
Bye
whatever.
bye. Enjoy.
All right.